Hi, Hoby here with You Are the Vision. I'm sitting here with my sister Linda and Gary. Gary, thanks for joining us. You know, the reason we're doing this video is we're getting to what so many families in America are going through. We're going to talk a little bit about my sister. I'm going to kind of set up what's going on. My sister, for the last year and a half,
At least.
has been going to doctors, to hospitals. I've probably taken her to the emergency room probably 7, 8 times. And every time after we get out through the emergency room, they say they can't find what's wrong with her. It's been so frustrating. I've been sitting there watching my sister just in pain. I mean, just suffering. My sister's a school teacher. She's had to miss work. She's missed countless days of work in the last year and a half, which has done what? Of course, put a financial burden on her. And we've just been so frustrated. It's just, let's talk a little bit about what you've gone through. I mean, that's in the last year and a half.
A lot of pain, a lot of suffering.
Right.
I ended up with neuropathy, which I've tried to work on with different doctors. That's led me on a road of many hospital visits, x-rays, tests, where they've just treated me with prescription after prescription after prescription, which in essence made me worse more than it did me better.
Now also, sis, we talked about this the other day, reaching out. You've had a hard time reaching out. Now why? Why do you feel that?
I don't want to be a burden on anyone. I feel like I've
Okay. Go ahead.
My sickness has been a burden for so many people, and all I want is to just get well and healthy again. But I can't seem to find the people that can help me.
Well, sis, we're here to help you. You know, so many families out there, Gary, so many families are going through what we're going through. You know, the financial burden. My sister's hands, show me your hands, sis. I mean, you can't see from the camera there, but they're just raw. Her feet are raw. The cream that it costs to put on her hands and feet is $18, and it lasts her 3 days. That comes out to about $200 a month. And she can't afford it. She's missing school. She can't afford that. That's part of it. We have she called me this morning, and she has a $164 prescription that needs. Now, she's a school teacher. Understand? She teaches school, 3rd grade. She teaches our children. She had a $164 prescription bill that she couldn't pay. She didn't know how she's going to get the prescription filled. So what's happening is my mother has been stepping in for the last year and a half. How's she been doing that? My mother's been putting the bills on her credit card. So Gary, I want to talk to you a little bit about that because you and I have had some of these conversations before about the financial burden that our healthcare system is causing us in America.
Well, as you know, Hoby, we have been focused on the issue of excess weight gain and obesity. And we know that losing weight is the single most important thing we can do to bring healthcare costs down in this country. We lost 368,000 Americans last year to obesity-related illnesses. And this is a staggering number. And as I say, the healthcare costs associated with dealing with this issue are staggering. And if I would have come to you 80 years ago and said, look, I've got a plan to destroy this magnificent country called the United States of America, and it won't require a single shot to be fired. And if you relate back to the Communist Manifesto, it states that the United States would fall from a tree like a ripened fruit without a shot ever being fired. The corrupted food supply has brought about a condition in this country that's literally devastating. And within the next 10 years, 9 out of 10 people in this country, 90% of the people in this country will be overweight, and 30% of them will be obese. Now, this is a staggering, staggering, staggering number. There's no way we continue. What happens when the body gets out of balance, out of what's called homeostasis? A whole cascade of events start taking place with hormonal issues. This is exactly what your sister's going through. And this is something that's so disruptive to the quality of life. If you want to talk about knocking down, negatively affecting the way you look and feel, this is at the heart of all of it. And so we have to begin by addressing the corrupted food supply. There is a drug that can address most of these issues with people. And you know, one of the ancients said, let food be your medicine and let medicine be your food. This all goes back to eating properly, getting away from the corrupted food supply and starting to address this issue by proper nutrition, health through nutrition.
Okay, now let me ask you, my sister's case. What's the first thing she needs to do? Did you tell them everything that you have wrong with you, sis?
Mine is I don't want to eat anymore.
Sure. Well,
Food doesn't taste good. Nothing. I mean, I know I need to eat, but I don't want to eat.
right.
I mean, I spent 6 weeks straight vomiting,
Mm-hmm.
and my body's so out of sync that it doesn't know how to work properly anymore.
Right.
And I don't know how to change that.
To address that. Well, it all starts, Hoby, is I've told you before, this nutrition thing, it's like anything else. It starts with the first step. That first and most important step, of course, is waking up in the morning and getting the body nutrified properly with the right fuel, the right breakfast, the most important meal of the day. So I haven't gone into great detail with your sister on what's going on, but I know we need to start by getting her off on the right foot each morning. And then slowly, the body will start. The body wants to heal itself, and it will. But we've got to give a little help. Once you start taking prescription drugs, all prescription drugs long-term throw the hormones out of balance. So what you're doing is further exacerbating this issue. She takes something for this. She's taking something for the neuropathy. Soon,
That's right, yeah.
soon, what happens is the body gets in such a state of disarray that you don't even know where to start. And this is what's happened to her.
Well, now, you're on a patch right now, right, sis?
A fentanyl patch, a narcotic patch for my neuropathy.
And you've been on that for about how long?
Probably a year.
A year. And see what's happening, Gary, she's been on this, and of course, like I said, I've sat there in the emergency room and just sitting there saying, is there anything I can do with my sister? And I want to bring up another point to that also. A lot of times when we go in to the emergency room and everything else, a lot of times we get an attitude. Like, we don't care. In America, that's got to stop. I mean, if you're in the healthcare industry and someone comes in there, like my sister, they're in pain. They're in serious pain. We're a family that doesn't know what to do, a frustrated mother, frustrated, brother. All we want is my sister to get better. That's all we want. That's all we're there to do. So watch the way that you treat us when we walk through the doors, because we're just like y'all. We're just all family. But anyway.
Well, Hoby, I want to talk about that for
all
just a
right.
second, because that's very interesting. As the byproduct of my parents having some illnesses over the last 5 years,
Right.
I've spent a considerable amount of time at the hospitals, both the emergency room and regular rooms. And, if you get these doctors that have been involved in any sort of battlefront medical attention, you bring them back, whether it's Vietnam, Afghanistan, when you are bombarded on a regular basis with so much mayhem from the violence associated with war, you sort of become a little bit desensitized to it. And this is what's happening in the emergency rooms today. These people are bombarded. Pretty soon you come in, you're missing an arm? Wait over here, we'll be with you in a second. Okay, this is what, now you're going to interpret that as them not caring. But what happens, they become so desensitized because they're just bombarded with this. And this is all the byproduct of the health in this country. I was waiting in the doctor's office for 2.5 hours while my mom was undergoing some tests. And it was one of the most negative experiences I've ever had, watching the people file in those doors, streaming in there, and looking at the condition of what America's let their health deteriorate to over the years. It is so depressing. It's just devastating.
Now, why, Gary, is our health being so
Compromised?
Yeah.
Well, the food supply is the single biggest contributor to this, the corrupted food supply. We're taking in so much sugar. People used to take in about 16 pounds of sugar. Now they're taking 164 pounds. Sugar causes inflammation, what's called a generalized inflammation in the body. And that inflammation affects hormonal balance. It's called the negative feedback loop. If you ever take a look at a cow, in fact, there's some across the street, you never see them move, do you? You ever see cows out there running?
No.
What do you see cows doing all day?
Eating.
Eating. Do you ever see any fat cows? Not many. They're sitting out there looking in good shape. They stand up. They have nice skin tone. What happens? They have what's called a negative feedback loop. If a cow starts gaining too much weight, they start producing a hormone that's called leptin. Leptin signals their brain to shut down the hunger response. And it also accelerates fat burning. So they stay in this what's called a negative feedback balance, homeostasis. Now what happens with the human population is we become resistant to leptin. We produce leptin also. We become resistant to it, just like people become resistant to insulin. When their body has produced so much insulin over the year from eating compromised food, pretty soon those cells don't respond to it. It's called insulin resistance. And so all of these things get back to one thing. eating a proper diet. They'll all come back to that eventually. This is our medicine. Let food be your medicine. Let medicine be your food. This is it. This has been around for a long time. We have to start on this now.
Okay, now how do we, so we're gonna do a separate video, you know, and it's gonna be more you just talking with my sister about step by step what she needs to do. So basically what I wanna say is you've got two people right now in the world. You got the people that are not physically, mentally, and spiritually healthy. Now it's hard for these people to reach out. My sister just said it's hard for her to reach out because she doesn't want to be a burden on everyone. Well, why would she feel that she's being a burden? Well, there's a reason, and the reason is because on our side, I am mentally, physically, and spiritually healthy. I have to make sure that I let the people around me know that I want to help them. I want to help them. Gary, I know you, and I've known you for many years. Your desire is to help America get healthy. My desire is to help our society get healthy. Alcohol and drugs, of course, in my case. So we're out to help, sis. And we want everyone out there to know that we're out to help. And if you're in good shape, reach out to the people around you. Let them know that you're there for them. And sis, we're going to do everything we can do to get you healthy.
I'm ready.
Well, we love you. Mwah. You are the vision. You can do it. Reach out. Thank you.